What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the show with the boys, Xavier and Nicholas. Guys, our time has come. This glorious week has come. It is fight week, UFC 319, DDP versus Hamzat Chimaev in Chicago, Illinois. Let's freaking go, guys. Before we get to the card, I just want to take a moment and acknowledge the gravity of this fight, how big this fight is. Um, Let's just start with the champ, DDP. He's on a roll. One of the most charismatic, fun to watch champions in the sport. And Hamzat Chimaev has been on the hunt for a title for years. He's looked unstoppable, but he just keeps running into these roadblocks outside of the cage. He's finally getting his title shot. Guys, how are we feeling going in here?
I feel so fucking excited, man. I can't even remember the last time I was more excited for a fight. I feel like this is honestly like on the short list of top three middleweight fights of all time. You have Hamzat. Well, first of all, you have DDP undefeated in the UFC. Somehow the man keeps winning, trucking along. He's always in interesting scraps. And then on the other side, you have like the most hyped prospect, and I can't even remember our prospect that's been hyped up, more than early Hamzat when he was healthy and actually fighting so consistently, fighting like every 14 days and shit sometimes, like mauling people. I think he went like three fights and took like less than two significant strikes in those fights. Because I remember the Gilbert Burns fight, he had two significant strikes in round one, and then they were like, well, that's already more than all his other fights combined. So Hamzat has been mauling these fuckers forever. And now, it's the real, juggernaut versus the immovable object. You know what I mean? Like, it's a real clash of titans at middleweight. And it's rare, honestly, that we get to see these fights where both fighters are kind of in their prime. Usually there's one fighter that's way more on the decline than the other, even if they're both kind of in their prime. This is like the first fight in a long time where I feel like both guys are like at their apex and at their best, and we're gonna just see where the chips fall.
I absolutely agree. I'm super pumped for this. I think they're both in their prime, ready to just scrap out there. I think this is going to be absolute chaos. Um, and we all love some good chaos, let me tell you. And I think it will be a great fight. It's one for the ages. It's already hyped enough matchup, knowing Hamzat's resume and who he is as a prospect and fighter. But then DDP, a guy who keeps getting, underestimated, and he just keeps finding the finish. And now, as an established champ, has all the confidence in the world to win this fight. He seems to be accepting this challenge. So I'm ready for the trash talk. I'm ready to see the fight myself. I'm ready for all the shit talk DDP because he the best trash talker in the game as well. Let's not get that twisted either. No one even talks trash these days, but DDP, it doesn't seem like trash talking, but he's in these people's heads rent free. And let's see how he gets in Chimaev's this weekend.
Definitely a mental warfare merchant for sure.
Yeah, he's got a sharp tongue, definitely. All right, but let's get into the X's and O's. Man, for me, it's as simple as if it ends early, it's Hamzat. If it goes late, I'm probably leaning DDP. I'm gonna go with DDP. Let's just all say who we're going with really quick before we really break it down because I think everyone already knows.
Khamzat, man. Khamzat. Much like another fight we're gonna discuss later, I'm on an island here, and that's okay. I like islands, you know what I mean? I like the islands, they're kind of chill, you know what I mean?
The best fighter on the planet, Dricus Duplessis.
Get the fuck out of my face.
I'll go first because I know you guys are a little bit more passionate about your picks. I'm gonna lean DDP. I was on the fence for a really long time, and I keep flip flopping, but I'm gonna stick with DDP on the week. Man, if that Robert Whitaker fight didn't happen, I would for sure take DDP because Usman, Hamza did face some adversity in the Usman fight, super close, in the Burns fight, and those are 170ers, and DDP is a giant, and he just ran over Whitaker. Like, he broke his jaw. That was insane. Absolutely insane. But I'm going to lean DDP here. I don't think DDP is going to get done like that. I think he'll be able to weather the storm. He will lose the first round, maybe the second, but I think he'll be able to take over. And I could honestly see him winning a decision here over Hamzat. I know both of these guys have gas out merchant allegations, but I think maybe if that is true, they might cancel each other out a little bit. I think DDP by decision. That is my final pick.
All right, I'll go second here. I've been, rewatching the tape this week. Several fights on both from both guys. And to be honest, I think that while Hamza does slow down from the frantic pace that he tends to set in round one. There's never a point where I felt like his striking, even in these tight round threes, where I would admit even he's like a little more gassed than you would kind of want him to be going into a 5 rounder. Um, there's never been a point where like I felt like he had no damage on his strikes though, no crispness to his punches. He doesn't like flail his arms around like a lot of these guys when they gas out their arms. Like all of his shots still like even though like the volume might decrease, he still has a very crisp jab. I think that his striking, his leg kicks, everything is his striking was a lot more technical than I remember it being. Um, I think he is the more technical fighter between the two of them. I think that that might serve him a little bit better than people think when he gets a little if when and if he gets a little gassed. I do kind of anticipate him being able to at least be 50-50 with DDP. It's not like DDP always has the most output. Like we've seen him, outpointed by Sean Strickland and shit just by a jab before. So it's like a jab mixed up with like some of the other weapons that Hamzat throws. I feel like can give DDP some issues. On top of that, I naturally think that like the 170 weight cut for Hamzat was fucking awful. I think that that goes a long way towards like a lot of his gas out issues. I expect him to have naturally a little bit of better cardio, fighting at a more healthy weight, not depleting himself as much at 185. On top of that, like you said, I do think that like round one and two, especially if it's, in the grappling, I do think Hamza can catch a sub. Like Hamza was quick to point out in his interviews in recent weeks, Whitaker took DDP down in their fight, and he was like, "You see what I did to Whitaker on the ground, like." And Whitaker, if Whitaker can take him down, like, boy, you're gonna have some trouble with me. And like, I can't help but believe him. DDP has fought a lot of fighters where the damage, like he's clearly a tough, strong guy, big man for the weight division, durable guy, right? And I think that a lot of these guys, like even Adesanya striking, even though it's very crispy, Adesanya tends to, chip at the legs, throw kind of like single strikes, not really combinations. So a lot of the fights are a little bit more measured. He's been fighting measured strikers. And yes, his cardio has looked improved, but like we'll see how his cardio holds up against like the pressure of a Hamza. Like Hamza, if you have to have Hamza on your back for 2 rounds, like we'll see like where that gas tank even is, like going into round three, I think that Hamza might gas him a little bit more than people anticipate. Because a lot of DDP's fights have been for large stances at least contested at a kind of measured pace. And I think that the intensity of Hamza is gonna like shake that up a little bit. So I'm gonna assume Hamza can probably find a sub of some sort in round two. But if not, I think that it will probably go the full five, and I see him squeaking out a close decision, maybe 3 rounds to 2.
Yeah, I mean, I think this fight can go multiple ways. I could see it being a tough battle throughout five, or I could see the classic take of either Chimaev finishes him in the first round or DDP finishes Hamza late. I agree with you, X, on some standpoint that Hamza moving up in weight and not cutting as much probably is helping his cardio a lot more. But if he's using all that force and gassing DDP out, will he not be gassing out at that same moment? Are you that confident in his cardio? Because I will say, if he is going to go out there and do the same thing he does every time, full pedal to the metal, they will both be gassing by round three. And my whole thing in the fight is I believe DDP is the more durable guy. So I just think when they're both tired and a little more gassed, one of those DDP, stumbling bombs that'll run into.
Baby, the signature move of this man.
Yeah, I just really think that's gonna drop Hamzat. I don't think he has felt the power of someone of a striker like DDP. Now, the wrestling itself, Hamzat definitely has the edge and the grappling. I think he will take DDP down, but DDP is hard to hold down. He is not an easy man to hold down there. He's been taken down plenty, but I've not seen someone hold him down that much. Uh, Maybe Darren. I don't know how long Darren Till had him down technically. I don't know if that was the end of the round or early. I don't remember, but he was extremely gassed, and I think his cardio has improved over the years as well. I think this is just a great matchup. I can see it going a lot of ways, but I'm trusting Duplessis because I just feel like when they're both starting in that gas out period, I just trust him more to find that finish. I just do. I just don't see Hamza getting the takedowns as easily either when they're both gassed like that. I just don't think so. I've just seen it too much from the man, even though the gas tank should be better. Right.
You guys kind of went into it in your rants, but really quickly, I'm going to ask you both a question about the fight. I want you guys to defend your fight. How does DDP deal with the wrestling? The physicality of Hamzat, that first round sprint, because like Xavier said, he's been taken down by much lesser competition and much lesser wrestler. Xavier, if he's not able to get that first round submission, how will he deal with the striking and physicality of DDP?
Well, you go first, Clark.
Okay. So the wrestling, I will say this. I do believe Hamza will get one of the first initial takedowns. I don't know which one, but DDP is a good grappler, and he is no punk like Robert Whitaker who can hang out down there. DDP can grapple with Hamza down there. I do believe he is good enough to at least avoid a submission. Maybe he gets punched a little bit, but he's just gonna deal with it through grit. Like he's just gonna grit his way through. And he's very good at getting back up on his feet, just like your boy JDM. Ed, you would appreciate his take. And I'm just saying, like he can get back to his feet well. Hamzat is a beast down there. I can't lie. So I'm curious to see how it will go. I'm not blind. I do see a scenario where Hamza goes out there and maybe subs him up. I think there is a scenario there, but after that, we'll just deal with it through pushing the pace on him. I believe DDP has the better cardio and he's got the kicking game. We'll take those legs away for him to wrestle. So, that's how he's going to handle it. Pure grit, a pure DDP way.
All right.
All right, and for me, you asked like how does he deal with what? The size and the cardio? And the striking.
DDP.
Um, well, I think that as far as the cardio goes, I just think that he shouldn't be able to push the pace as much as he normally does. Um, I think that after like surviving a round or two, to be honest, like or two with Hamzat, um, I just think the DDP's gas tank is not going to be as fresh as it has looked in recent fights. I just do expect, in general, Hamzat's pressure will kind of like lead to him at least getting a little more tired than he usually does. On top of that, I just think that even gassed out, I think that Hamza at some point or another, in the little moments when he needs to, is gonna be able to find takedowns and control. For certain points of the fight, he might just not be able to, be as frantic when he gets DDP down. He might have to be a little bit more methodical when he's not like, round one fresh. But I think he can use that enough at least to regain some of his breath that can carry him through like the rest of the striking portions of the fight. I think that he'll be able to like slow things down a little bit through the fight with his grappling. Kind of similar to how DDP was able to hold Strickland down but not really do shit in some of their fights, you know, where he's just like holding Strickland down for a couple minutes, like maybe 2 minutes at a time type shit. I think that Hamzat will be able to uh control DDP on the ground. And if DDP tries to force his way up and bully his way up with strength and just power, I think that that's where he can find himself maybe potentially getting subbed. So
I
I
can
think
see
that
that, yeah.
DDP is gonna try not. I think he's gonna try to get up, but I think that he's gonna be a little bit more careful about how much he just tries to explode his way to the feet. And I think that that should lead to a bit of a slower pace, maybe middle of the fight, were it to get there. And I think that Hamza will be able to you know have enough cardio when they're on the feet because of the control time that he's able to garner at little pockets through the fight to catch his breath. I also think that like the technicality, like in the striking, I think that Hamza is the more technical of the two. And I think that just sticking behind a jab and staying defensively safe can carry him through different parts of the fight a little bit.
Alrighty.
And that didn't carry Strickland through. Think about that. Just think about that. Think about that.
Well, it's gonna be a crazy fight. The odds are DDP is plus 150 now, minus 180. 180. I think that is about right. This is like honestly behind JDM and Islam, probably the second biggest fight of the year. You can argue first, but I'd probably put it second. This is gonna be amazing, and I cannot wait. Anything else on this one, guys?
No, I'm good.
All right. Let's move on to the co-main, guys. It got announced super late, but we did finally get it. Lerone Murphy versus Aaron Pico. Murphy ranked number 6 right now at fight in the org. He was going to fight Ivalov for a long time, but unfortunately he pulled out. Very different opponent in Murphy, but super short notice for Murphy. How are you guys feeling about the co-main?
I'm excited for the co-main. I think the striking of Lerone Murphy presents a different challenge than he was initially scheduled to face. So I do worry about like how Pico is going to adjust to that difference. But I think that at least with Lerone Murphy, the fight is more likely to be contested on the feet, which I do think favors Pico more than if he were to be, getting grapple fucked. Um, so I don't know if it's going to be an easier fight or not, because I think that they're closer on the feet, but at least the grappling edge isn't as like, skewed one way or the other. Um, yeah, but I mean, like Lerone Murphy, as long as he's in shape, like it's a hell of a replacement fight that they found for him. And it's also a fight that's gonna test his level immediately and see like if he can contest with the big dogs of that division. Because like While Lerone Murphy is not at the top of the division, he's like, one rung down, a prospect on the rise as well. So like if is able to beat him, especially if he's able to look like pretty good in doing it, it'll show like where he's at in the pecking order a little bit.
Yeah, I think this is a big fight for the division, honestly. I think, honestly, if the winner of this fight could probably get a title shot after one more win or even off the rip. Um, it's that big of a fight. I love the replacement. I think it brings in interesting styles of the way both of them fight. I think they fight somewhat similarly. Um, and the hype behind Aaron Pico is so great. And based on what I've seen, because I didn't know much about Aaron Pico until I watched those highlights, and I will say I understand the hype now. And he's been talked about one of these prodigy kids for a while. Um, seems to be coming in his full form as of late. And Lerone Murphy's undefeated, so I think this is great matchmaking. I think it'll be a great fight. I wish it was a 5 rounder. I think that'd be better, but um I do love this fight. I think it's a great test for both. And it's gonna show, what let's see what Pico's got. Let's see.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a super exciting one. I think it's going to go to the distance. I'm leaning Lerone Murphy here. Now, Aaron Pico, I will give him the benefit of the doubt. He is coming in like much younger than a lot of guys do, which is a really good sign from Bellator. But it just comes down to the competition, and I feel like really tricky opponent to kind of switch from Evelev. He's really crafty in there. He's just really intelligent, even though he's sometimes not super exciting. I rate Aaron Pico striking. I don't think he's going to use a lot of wrestling. I think this is going to be a 3 round war on the feet. I just feel those vibes, and I feel like Murphy's just better there.
We will see about that. Those hands are nasty, trust me.
No, they are nasty, but I just don't think Aaron Pico's fought anyone to the level of LeBron Murphy. And this is a huge fight for Murphy. I feel like all the attention's on Pico. LeBron Murphy wins this. He's one shot. Well, same with Pico, I guess. But LeBron Murphy's been in the trenches in the UFC for longer. I like his story, man. I'm going Murphy 2-1 for a decision, 2 rounds to one.
Fair enough.
Anything else in the comment, guys?
I I don't know who I'm picking. I'll think about it on the day probably.
Give us something. We're leaning right
Well,
now.
but I will say, well, if I'm betting, I mean, I don't get the odds. Pico minus 200, Lerone plus 170. We need to close those odds for me to be confident bet on Pico. But as a prediction, I've changed my mind again, and I'm rolling with Aaron Pico because I believe he is a better wrestler, and I do think there is a path to victory in this 3 round fight for him if he chooses to go there. I think he could win on the feet too, but I think he's the better wrestler of the two, and I do think he can get Leron Murphy to the ground. I think Murphy's good, he's undefeated. Wouldn't be shocked if he wins, but I do think Pico is one of the when I watch him fight, he reminds me of a Michael Chandler who actually fights smart. Like and
Yeah.
actually like has good cardio. Like he actually like reminds me a lot of Mike, but just elevated in like every area.
Especially technical boxing.
Yeah, and he's been I mean, he came out of high school and he was supposed to be on like the Olympic team or something, like something like that. I mean, he's very high caliber wrestler and the striking just looks insane too. I do think he leaves himself a little open to get caught sometimes, but I just feel like Murphy doesn't have that power or like finishing potential to really like worry Pico. So I could just see Pico kind of just walking him down low key. I could just kind of see it. But I wouldn't be shocked if Murphy pulled out a close decision. I think that's how he wins this fight. Uh, where Pico, I can see Pico. Murphy's tough though. It probably gonna be a decision no matter what. But there's a path to victory for Pico that I'm realizing.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough.
I hate the odds. The odds need to go down.
I think it's gonna be a 29-28. I could see a splitty, but I think like unanimous. I just think Pico's just gonna have more output, and that'll get it done for him.
Yeah. All right, guys. So let's move on to the featured fight of the night. We're going to welterweight. We got number 11, Jeff Neal versus number 12, Carlos Pradas of the Fighting Nerds. This is fight of the night written all over it. This and the main event, obviously, but this is going to be an absolute war banger on the feet, more than likely. Pradas coming off a tough L against Gary. He rallied late, but it was just a little too late. Jeff Neal, his last fight he got a dub over RDA, but he's been pretty up. Guys, give me your prediction and who's gonna win this war.
Well, I think that Protez is gonna win. I don't know where that Neo chin is. I mean, when's the last time he got that chin tested? I feel like it's been a while, right? Like I feel like his chin has been like he hasn't been, knocked out in a very long time, if ever. I can't really remember a time where he got knocked out. So I feel like that bodes well against the Protez. Well, I mean, I think that Protez is gonna engage. I mean, Neil's gonna engage Protez in the kind of fight that he wants. Primarily boxing, like striking affair. I don't see Neil trying to wrestle very much unless it's like clinching up because he's getting in trouble. Um, I mean, the youth, momentum. I think everything is really leaning Protez's way. Now, Neil can crack, but I mean, I think I trust Protez can take a shot if he has to. And I think that he's technical enough to avoid most of Neil's big shots. Um, I could see it if Protez catches Neil with something, maybe second round. But if not, I see him just taking a UD decision here.
I feel that. I love this fight. I think both fighters are gonna get their own in there. I think it'll be kind of back and forth. But man, I just feel like Prates should win this fight. Just based on momentum. It just feels like Jeff Neal hasn't been able to beat these. He struggled against tall strikers in the past as well. And I just feel like he has lost to worse strikers as well. My only, I think, issue with Prates would be output. I think I could see a scenario of him losing a decision just because he's not throwing enough and looking for the perfect KO. Prates, you're a tall man. Just put the jab out there behind of a body shot. That's all you have to do all day long. Because he will be coming forward. I expect Jeff Neal to be on the back foot a lot. Um, but man, after what I saw with the Ian Gary fight, man, I just cannot back this man, Jeff Neal, in a fight like this. Like, that Ian Gary performance was just so bad. I don't even get how that was a split decision, by the way. I thought Ian Gary clean swept him easy, but Jeff Neal basically the whole fight did not throw anything and decided to clinch along the fence and then not do anything with that clinch. No strikes or anything, just clinch. So, he TKO'd or it was a knee injury. RDA got a knee injury, so I don't know if that was caused by Neal, but anyways, I think Prada should go out there and absolutely put it on this man, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the fight might start a little tentative. Both guys, it'll start a little slow, but once the exchanges get more and more hectic, I think Pradas is going to find openings and knock Neal down and rock him. I don't know if he'll find the finish, but I know Jeff Neal's ass is hitting the canvas in this fight. I can just feel it. I'm gonna go Proudus by TKO in round 2. I think it's gonna be a banger, and Neal will definitely get his own
Yeah, I
for
think so.
sure.
Definitely too. Like I definitely want to stress that enough. Like Neil is not a hoe in there. He's definitely not gonna just fold over in there. He's gonna throw it back for sure.
I think it'll be a lot like the Shavkat fight, but like I don't think Neal will be able to eat the punches of Proudus. But
Yeah.
yeah, this is gonna be an absolute banger. Let's move down, guys, to middleweight. Another banger. Cannonier versus MVP. Michael Venom Page. Is it as simple as you can't beat Venom Page if you're only going to strike, which it seems Cannonier is going to do? Well, what do you? This is an interesting one. What do you guys see in the X's and O's in this one?
I mean, the main thing I see is like I think that he's available to be size mogged. I think that if I knew that Cannoneer was just gonna size mog MVP, heavy on the clinch work, maybe trying to take him down, like that is the path for Cannoneer here. I think that he can have a lot of success with that path. Um, Unfortunately for him, even though it's like his own fault, I do not think that's the path he's gonna try to take here. To his own detriment. I think that he will try to strike with MVP, and I think that he's gonna probably struggle to find him early. He might have a little more success eventually, or he might change the strat like midway through the fight if it's not working. He might start clinching up, and he's the kind of guy where I think that he does care about winning fights, not just being entertaining. But I think that by that point it might just be too little, too late. I could see him like out clinching MVP to win like a third round, but being down 2 rounds early. So I think the MVP is gonna, punch and kick his way to a UD here.
I got my boy MVP. I've always been a big fan. I've taken him in every fight he's been in so far, and I'm gonna continue to pick him until he faces my boy Duplessis, because he'll still be there. Looking at this fight, you know, the obvious thing for Cannonier to try and do here is to go for the takedowns, or at least, push him against the fence, foot stomps, a classic like Usman of old performance. But I don't think Cannonier will do that. I think this man loves to strike. I think he's just gonna go out there and try to strike with MVP. And he's gonna find out real soon, just like Shara Bullet did, who one of the best strikers in the world is. I think MVP is one of the best in the world as a
Levels.
striker. Just straight up, like, just a unique style, very Wonder Boy-esque almost, but I actually like MVP's a little better, I would say. Just the way he moves out there. He's creative, he's fun. And Cannonier, like, over his last few fights, it's not like he's been losing a ton, but he definitely wears the shots a lot more now. And he is 40, he's 40, right?
One, I think.
Yeah, 41. He's not wearing these shots as well as he used to, and I feel like he's getting chinned a lot more recently. So I could just see MVP. I actually think MVP is gonna finish him. I like Cannonier. He's been my boy for a while. So it's tough to say that, but I've seen the chin deteriorate. And I just feel like with a with a guy like MVP, he's just gonna find it, man. He's gonna find him.
Yeah, I'm also gonna go with MVP here. It's gonna be predominantly on speed. I really hate to put this energy out here, but I feel like it might not be the most exciting fight. I feel like MVP might cruise to a decision, just being a little too tricky and too his counter striking too unpredictable for Cannonier.
Kind of similar to the Adesanya Cannoneer fight, you
A
think?
little bit. Oh my God.
I just had a flashback when you said that.
put on a super entertaining fight. But I feel like it's going to be a bit of a chess match in there, and MVP is just going to be 2 steps ahead. So I'm going to go MVP by you.
I feel that.
Yes, sir.
Bellator's finest.
Bellator's
MVP really Bellator. I mean, MVP really gained my respect when he almost beat Mike Perry in BKFC with just fists. I was like, okay. Like
I
for
forgot
him to
about that.
even do that and like to do as well as he did, like I was like, because not too many people are like fucking with Mike Perry and that BKFC shit, man. So I was like, okay, like if given the whole range of MMA tools at his disposal, like I feel like he can definitely work Mike Perry and others, to be honest.
Definitely. All right, guys. Final fight of the main card. We got number 11, Tim Elliott versus number 15, Kai Asakura, coming off his debut loss in a title fight against Pantoja. He got beat pretty bad, but hey, it's Pantoja. They put him at number 15, and his second fight in the UFC is going to be against the veteran Tim Elliott. I'm pretty sure Kai Asakura is like a minus 300 something favorite, pretty big favorite here. Is this a setup fight for Asakura to look?
Yes. I'll start with this. It's 2025. Tim Elliott's ranked 11th in the world right now in that division.
Yes,
Okay.
unfortunately.
Um, I mean, I'm just looking at the record, 21 and 13. You know, the, Kaya Sakura's contract's on the line for me right now in this fight. I really do
Sure.
think so. Like, big prospect from Ryzen, I believe, correct?
Yes.
Okay. From Ryzen, very explosive striker. Um, and just had a decent amount of hype behind him. I mean, he got a title shot in his debut. Uh, a lot of eyes on him, especially like Japan's on the rise right now in MMA for sure. And I just feel like if he loses to Tim Elliott, that is disastrous out here. Like he cannot allow that to happen. I don't think he will let that happen because even though Pantoja kind of ran through him, I did like what I saw in the short amount of time in that fight. He's a lot better at the takedown defense and grappling than I thought he would be. Um, and even the striking, didn't do the best versus Pantoja, but not a lot of people have been able to either. So I just feel like Tim Elliott and him on the feet is just a nightmare for Tim Elliott. I just think Asakura, once he just starts going, I think he can find the finish easy, to be honest. Like, as long as he's not getting chain wrestled in this fight, I think he should be able to win. And from what I saw in the takedown events and grappling versus Pantoja, I am confident enough he can do it against, how old is he? 38-year-old Tim Elliott, 21 and 13. I mean, he should win this fight. I think he'll knock him out, honestly.
Yeah, I don't got much to say. I think you'll also find a finish. I think he'll just be way too quick for Tim Elliott on the feet and just too strong physically. He's a pretty big flyweight. And yeah, Tim Elliott, he's just really long in the tooth, man. Shout out to him, but the young eat the old, and I definitely see that happening here.
Yeah, I could see if he can. I could see Tim Elliott being able to like finesse maybe a round if he just gets a takedown and can control him. But over 3 rounds, I don't see him able to hold him that long. Kai will find that chin a couple of times, and I think at minimum he'll be sitting Tim down.
Yeah,
And even if he does not getting the finish necessarily, it'll be enough to clearly win the rounds, at least a couple of them. So. Or even I can see if Tim is having a good round and just gets sat down and then he loses the round type shit too, like just like that. Because those hands are dangerous, man.
for sure. Yeah, so that should be a fun one. Let's move to the prelim, guys. There's nothing here in terms of storylines that is super significant, but there's a lot of fun fights here. What's really standing out to you guys?
I'm fucking with Chase Hooper, Hernandez. I mean, I feel like that's you know, a good next step for Chase Hooper. Hernandez is physically imposing, and Chase Hooper is, notoriously a bit of a soy boy. So at the end of the day, like it'll at least look very interesting. Um, I would like to see how the, grown man Hooper does against the physicality, but I think that his grappling should be able to carry him through. I've just really been impressed with Hooper's development. He's looked a lot better on the feet, and his ground game has benefited from his additional added strength as he's, coming into his grown man body. So I just like watching Chase Hooper fight. So I'm definitely excited for that one.
I agree. I think that'll actually be a very good fight. I think Hernandez will bring it early. I got Chase Hooper winning that. I like, we also go for our boy Brian Battle. I love
I love that
Brian
fight.
Battle. And I think that's a good fight as well. It's right after, I don't know if y'all knew this, but we are also getting the Ultimate Fighter finales on this card.
We are getting them.
They are the first two fights of the night. At least that's what I'm seeing on ESPN, which makes sense because the last episode of the semis is tomorrow night. That does make a lot of sense. They put on a big pay-per-view, so that's cool. I think those will be interesting. I just skipped the whole. I just watched it. I just watched the fights. I like skipped everything else though with
Pretty
Chael.
decent.
Whatever Chael was saying, like skip that real quick. No, I think that's an interesting add to the card. But Brian Battle, I just love watching him win. I remember him on the Ultimate Fighter. Somehow got picked last. He like ran through everybody. I loved the name. I loved the hair.
He gave me Joakim Noah vibes, man. Just like an underdog, scrappy motherfucker, bro. Full of energy and full of like effort, bro. I fuck with him.
He did get rid of the hair though. I wish he kept that hair, but
He needed that shit to cut weight, Heike. He probably needed to lose that shit to cut weight. I would.
I feel that moving back up to middleweight though, he did miss weight his last time out, so I kind of like he's moving back up, but hasn't been there in a while. So maybe it'll take him around. I think this will be somewhat of a close fight, but I think as the fight goes along, Brian Battle's striking, I think, takes over. I think he's the much better striker of the two. And I don't think Ruziboyev's a good enough wrestler to impose anything on him, to be honest.
I think that Ruzi Boyev tends to slow down in his fights, and Brian Battle does tend to come on a bit more late. He's more of a builder in his fights. His output increases usually as the fights go on. Kind of maybe peaking at moments if he like hurts someone and like swarms a little bit, but overall, I think that he's a fighter that like as his opponents overall tend to tire. If he's not getting grapple fucked the whole time on the feet, he tends to build. And I think that that's gonna be enough to get him the dub here. I think that, like you said, it could be tough early, but I think rounds 2 and 3, he should start to distance himself, like in the strike numbers for sure.
Guys, let's keep covering anything else on the prelims we want to discuss. We got some old heads fighting King Green and Ferreira. That should be a banger on the feet. We got what else we got?
I like.
Barboza versus Close.
Oh my God, yeah, you guys get to see a living legend one more time type shit, and what could be like any one of these could be his retirement fight at this point, bro. Honestly.
Barboza.
Yeah, I feel like he can just he's at that age and stage where he could just set like one loss and he could just be like, all right, I don't got it anymore, you know?
Yeah. And his game is so reliant on his like agility, his like physicality.
Athleticism and shit, yeah.
Yeah, like he's so twitching, bro. Absolute legend.
You know, but I mean I feel like he's in a fight that, it's at least winnable on paper for him. So I mean, like it should allow him to shine at least a little bit. Um, shit, I'm a big fan of Katrin Silva. JJ Aldrich, she has like short arms, but she's scrappy in there. So I feel like this should be a showcase for Katrin Silva though. Um, she's pretty violent for the women's flyweight division, and I think that she should she's one of the first fights, so she should get the card started with a bang. Beyond that, I mean, Lupi versus Andrade should be decent. I think Lupi should get this dub. She's jumping from like 11 to 5 at strawweight, so that's a big jump for Lupi. I fuck with Lupi, so I'm happy about that fight too. And then have we talked about all the fights?
Shout out Amir Shart.
Shout
I
out
fuck with Amir
Mearshart,
Shart.
man. Ola Jacek, man. Fuck it. Some
Well, shit,
a unk fight, bro. A unk fest.
Super unk.
Super unk fest, man. Fuck it.
I think Shay gonna
Chin GM3. Chin
chin
is.
him. I think he's gonna chin him.
And you guys are gonna see it live. That shit crazy.
Predictions.
Perform fight of the night. I think it's gonna be okay. I will say fight of the night. If the fight goes long, will definitely be Hamzat Dricus. But I think that Hamzat, if he does get some kind of quick sub, or if Dricus gets some kind of like, quick knockout, or I guess, but I really more so see the sub if it's gonna end early, then I think that Hamzat would get a performance bonus. So I think either way, this fight is getting one of the bonuses, either fight of the night or a performance bonus for the winner. Um, but if I'm gonna give it fight of the night, let's just say, I think I could see MVP having a performance bonus in his fight if he can style on Cannonier a little bit. That I can see him really, especially if like he's rocking Cannonier and having some fun in there, entertaining the people. I can see, him getting a performance bonus in that fight.
Fight of the night, DDP Hamza. Performance of the night. Ooh, tricky one. Ooh. I'm gonna go with Aaron Pico. I just have a feeling. I have a feeling
Interesting.
with that one.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
It's a
What,
hot take, but I like it.
what about you, Ed? Say yours.
I'm also going to agree with you guys, DP Hamzat. I think shockingly it's going to go longer than people expect, and it's going to be an absolute banger, an all-time classic. And I'll go Kaya Sakura for performance tonight. I think he's just going to get a first round like nasty knockout, and that's usually like the people that get it, or Ferreira knocking out Green. But I'm going to go with Kaya Sakura. I think he gets like a big bounce back dub here
And he needs that to, get his stock back on track for sure.
for sure, bro.
Shareholders have been selling stock, bro, and it might be time to buy him up while they're low type shit.
Definitely.
I mean, if he loses, he should get cut. He should. He just should. All
It's
for
tough. It's definitely the
They,
F.
they would probably give him one more, but this would be a bad look.
But anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please let us know what you guys think about our predictions. Let us know if you agree and disagree. Please go check out the TikTok. The TikTok. We got plenty of stuff on there, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace.
Peace.